If you look at the technology we've embraced as a nation, it took cars 55 years to reach 25% consumer penetration. Electricity took 46 years. The telephone took 35 years. The cell phone took 13 years. And broadband took 6 years to reach 25% penetration. We all think of the internet as something used for email, and 10, 15 years ago, none of us were using it even for email. Today, we're using it for video products, for audio products, for data, high graphic data, for telephone services, and sometimes all at the same time. It amazes my wife that I can be sitting here watching a television program on my Trio while sending an email to my mom that includes a YouTube video that she needs to see while talking to a friend in Australia, and about 5 minutes later using Skype. All of that needs broadband. And this little thing right here, this is over the Verizon network. It happens to be, but it also happens to be a Comcast television signal. I take the Comcast television signal, attach it to a $179 device called a Slingbox. Slingbox ports it wirelessly to this little handheld, and anywhere where I have a wireless connection, anywhere in the world, I can watch my Comcast cable or my DirecTV signal on something this size. I would happen to be over in Bangalore, India early this year watching my alma mater Stanford lose yet again in the NCAAs, but I'm sitting there in a hotel room in Bangalore, India, plugged into a broadband line, and I'm watching my cable system right here from Washington, D.C. That's broadband. But it's not just about entertainment. What worries me is that there are a lot of folks over here talking about images of minorities in the media, and that's a great thing. I'm glad that we're talking about that issue. And I'm glad we talked about digital transition this morning, which is a $100 million, maybe $1 billion issue. In the next year, year and a half, we're going to see telecommunications and cable and telephone companies and wireless companies spend 70 to 75 billion with a B dollars building infrastructure to make sure that all of the things we care about and want to see are available to people. 70 to 75 billion with a B dollars. Over the next 10 years, this country is going to spend $1 trillion with a T, $1 trillion to rebuild our telecommunications and information technology infrastructure. Lots of people are going to make lots of money on that side of the equation, and far too infrequently do people of color think about that opportunity because they're too busy thinking about the opportunity being in front of the camera. I'd much rather be the brother who's laying those pipes making a 60% margin than the guy who's trying to get his script sold to yet another BET producer. Somehow we have to start thinking about this differently. What's great about this new revolution is that it creates economic opportunity for people who are building these networks. It creates new opportunities for people who want to message because you no longer have to go through the gatekeepers. The other day somebody sent me something called Jazz Fusion TV. It's Billy Cobham and Miles Davis and Carlos Santana, jazz fusion artists, jazzfusiontv.com. I go to that, and then all of a sudden I don't have to wait for BET Jazz to bring a video. I go to Jazz Fusion TV and watch any video I want to. You get to become your own programmer or to create programming from the various things. You happen to like certain types of music and go to Pandora.com, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, they will program a radio station to your particular taste. What I'm worried about is all these things are happening, and in the minority community, we're not having the right debate about what does this mean. What does a $1 trillion infrastructure investment by private companies mean in terms of economic opportunity for minority vendors? What does the fact that gatekeepers are gone and all of a sudden you don't have to worry about whether somebody in New York or Nashville or LA greenlights your programming, you can put your programming on a broadband network and get out to the world. What does that mean? What does it mean about education for our children when the best professors, teachers anywhere in the world can be in their home instantly over the internet? What does it mean about health care provision when with broadband, my parents are 80 years old. I went down to Florida to visit them for a couple of weeks ago. 3 of the 5 days I was there, we went to a doctor. In the rain, in Florida, my 83-year-old dad wanting to drive because he's like, no, I can drive still. Well, trust me, he couldn't drive at 43, at 83 is a real issue. But my point is, with remote diagnostics, he doesn't necessarily have to leave his house to get the kind of quality health care he needs and deserves, and my mom needs and deserves. All of these are issues we need to be talking about as a community, and unfortunately we're not.